Hey everyone, back with the Thursday stream. Probably figure out what we're playing. Let's get the crap out of me. This is Ocarina of Time. You know, the big game. God, I hate that. We're playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console because it looks really nice. So how's everyone doing tonight? So Ocarina of Time, the fifth Zelda game. After Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina, after Zelda, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, Link's Awakening. Omelette du fromage. You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France? A royale with cheese. How you doing, Ben? So you've played this before, haven't you, Ben? I mean, it'd be kind of weird if you hadn't. Fly like the wind, Navi. Away! Sorry about the sounds there. I had to get my inhaler out of my bag. Left it in my bag when I came home today. So I muted the mic while I was moving around. So if you look at Link's model here, you can see that his eyes are actually open before he turns his head. So yeah, Ocarina of Time, we're playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console. Pretty much entirely for the visual quality. because Nintendo 64 games on Wii U Virtual Console, I think it's outputted at 480p and upscaled to 1080, which is really nice. It looks really nice. Biggest issue is the controller. Emulating the Wii, the 64, and basically anything has always been irritating because of the lack of C buttons. So the C buttons are mapped to the right analog stick in this, and it is not a perfect solution. What's up, Saria? You finally got a fairy, Chrono. That's brilliant. Now you can never be alone either. It's quite an honor to talk to a big piece of wood. Go and see the big piece of wood. So Ocarina is a game I have a considerable amount of experience with. I've been playing this game since at least 2000. And at the start, oh, I want to change that. And at the start, before we can go visit the Great Deku Tree, we need the Kokiri Sword and 40 rupees. So that's what we're going to be doing first. I've been in the mood to replay this anyway, so I thought, you know, why not do it for the stream? I mean, we did Link to the Past a little while back. And Link to the Past was fun. He's not just got wood, Bane, he is wood. It's kind of a thing with the 64, all of your items basically look like fiberglass when you pick them up. That's something I've been doing for years, backing out of the menu with B. And in this game, that is how you save. You press B in the pause menu. And so that's how I've always done it, and I basically always save. Especially because it's so fast in this game. Yeah, we're playing this on Wii U using the Wii U Pro controller, which is a really nice controller. The battery life on this thing is amazing. It's like advertises like up to 80 hours, and you know, boy, if it doesn't get close. They're like the best battery life on any wireless controller I've ever had. It's really good. So yeah, we need 40 rupees before we can go visit the Great Deku Tree because we need to buy a shield. So Bane, what's your experience with this game? Well, we're just running around Kokiri Forest before we do the first dungeon. Let's see, the standard 3 hours. Hope to have done, because I can have the Dodongo Cavern done in that time at least. Hope to get through Jabba Jabba's belly. See how things go. It's like, yeah, we took out Link to the Past in under 3 hours. Ocarina is a considerably longer game. And then the series just got longer. I mean, Majora's Mask overall is probably shorter than this. which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Majora's Mask was a really well done game. Wind Waker's a longer game. Twilight Princess is even longer. Not necessarily for the right reasons. Excuse me. That said, Twilight Princess was a game I only played through it once, but I really enjoyed it. The biggest issue going back to it is just how long it takes for anything to happen. But we'll get to that at some point. So we've got what we need, the Kokiri Sword, Deku Shield. So now we can go to the Great Deku Tree. Yeah, come on, Mido, chop chop. So up until Skyward Sword, this was the earliest Zelda game in the timeline. Although Hyrule Historia came out and retconned that, saying yes, Skyward Sword does take place before this, but Four Swords and Minish Cap also take place before this. Here's the Great Deku Tree. And to be fair, the 3DS version of this game is a fine way to play it. I cannot really fault the 3DS version. There's some graphical changes that I don't quite like there's some lighting changes that I think kind of remove from the atmosphere of the original. But gameplay-wise, it's great. And it feels a lot smoother. So I played through this game for years. In various incarnations. I played it on 64, I played it on GameCube. I played Master Quest on GameCube. And then I eventually picked up the 3DS and the 3DS version. Because I got my 3DS and what did I get with it? I got Ocarina of Time, I got Smash 4, I got Link Between Worlds, which was fantastic. And Ocarina was great, and it felt a lot faster playing on 3DS. So, like I said, playing this on Wii U, and as far as I'm aware, the Nintendo 64 games on Wii U that were released in Europe on the European eShop, the 64 games specifically were the PAL games, so they run with the 50 Hz, as opposed to the 60 Hz refresh rate that was standard in US and Japan. Which means, like, Ocarina runs at 20 frames a second, 20 FPS. The European version naturally runs slower than that. I think it goes at like 17 frames a second. So if it looks kind of off to anybody, that'll be why. It's not that there's anything wrong, this is how the game originally was for us. See, Ocarina came out in 98, and to a lot of people, is still considered the best game ever. Don't worry about that noise. And to be fair, Ocarina is a fantastic game and does a lot right. See, I didn't have Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. It was kind of a shame. And as a result, I've never actually beaten it. Phantom Hourglass isn't too bad a game. I feel like it gets a bad rep. Oh, that's one change I actually didn't like about the 3DS version. This trick here, holding forward when you jump off a high place, they massively reduced the distance you can go before you actually get hurt. So I wasn't happy about that. But yeah, no, as far as my Zelda experience goes, I had Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. I had Ocarina on 64. I had Majora's Mask on 64. Then GameCube came around and I got Wind Waker. And it was the Wind Waker that came with Ocarina and Master Quest. So that was a lot of fun. Then we got Twilight Princess on the Wii. And I played it for maybe 2 hours and I just did not like the controls. And while I was in college, a friend had Twilight Princess on GameCube and lent it to me. Which was really nice, and that's how I played Twilight Princess. Now I own Twilight Princess on GameCube, I also own HD on the Wii U, which is really nice. I haven't actually beaten Skyward Sword. Breath of the Wild, I did do. I picked it up launch day, and I've played through that. I did all the shrines, got all of that. Yeah, Minish Cap, I have played through. I'm not overly fond of it, but it is a game I do need to actually sit down and beat again. So I can really put a finger on why I'm not fond of it. It's not a game I owned. I emulated it to play it. I do own it now, which is, it's always nice. But as far as the consoles go, that's it. That said, I have done Zelda 1, and I have Zelda 1 on Virtual Console. Zelda 2 I've done once, and I don't want to go through it again. Zelda 2 is for its time, Zelda 2 is a solid game. It's got problems, but you point at how many NES games don't have problems, really. But then with the handheld games, I didn't have Link's Awakening, I didn't have Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons, and it's a real shame because I would have played the crap out of those. Damn it. That's always tricky to pull off, right? Yeah, I didn't have Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons, which is a shame because I would have played the crap out of them. I didn't have Minish Cap or Link to the Past port on Game Boy Advance. Phantom Hourglass was the first handheld Zelda I actually got for myself. And I have played it, I've beaten it. Spirit Tracks, I haven't beaten. I do own it, I have played it. I never finished it. And then there was Ocarina 3D, which I played all the way through, and like I say, potentially the best way to play Ocarina. Majora's Mask 3D, I wanted to love, but there are just so many changes that I do not like with Majora's Mask 3D. I think it is a massively inferior game to the original. Link Between Worlds I thought was fantastic. I played that game and I intended to take it slow actually with Link Between Worlds. So I started it with the intent of doing like a dungeon a day, taking it kind of slow, and then I sat down, started it, and just didn't stop. I beat the game in 2 sittings, and there was a lot of fun there. Triforce Heroes, my brother has that. I played it for like 5 minutes to see whether I wanted to do it. In fact, you know what? It wasn't 5 minutes. It was more like 15. To see whether or not I would want it, and the answer I came away with was no. I didn't think I would, but you know, it was there. I could try it. Wouldn't cost me anything, and I just came away with a resounding no. I am not interested in this. No, Zelda 2, like I say, I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's an obtuse game that is, more than anything, a product of its time. Like there's all the talk of remaking various games. Like I saw an article today, like the benefits of remaking Minish Cap. It's like, no, Minish Cap is fine. And there's that reference I was making, Resident Evil 2, 23 is number 1. Yeah, Minish Cap is fine. Honestly, if they're going to remake any Zeldas, I think they should remake the first 2. And interestingly enough, there was an intention at one point for them to remake Zelda 1 on Game Boy Color. Oracle of Seasons was originally going to be a Zelda 1 remake. That said, there is a remake, and if you don't mind emulating it, there is actually a proper remake for Zelda 1, and it is on the Satellaview for the Super Nintendo. And you're going to have to emulate it to play it, because there's no way you can actually play it anymore. But it's Zelda 1 fully remade, I think in Link to the Past engine. Yeah, I might have seen that mod. But I've seen so many Doom mods recently. Like Mario Brothers' Doom. There was that one-dimensional Doom, which was actually really cool. Like, just all of Doom in one small linear corridor. And the crazy thing was, because of just how distinct the visual design is, you could still tell where you were, which was really cool. Yeah, Zelda's a series I intend to go through for this stuff. Because it's a series that has I have a lot of history with. And it is a good series. And I say I don't want to go through Zelda 2 again. But, you know, if there's one thing you should always remember is, with something like this, never say never. We go long enough, we'll do everything. Okay, so you want to watch out for the Goma eggs on the ceiling, and if you hit them just right, you'll actually shatter them. And in my standard playthrough of Ocarina of Time, I never actually fight these things. Because I'm aware of everywhere they spawn, and I will always deal with them before they hatch. Well, to be fair, it's not like I have a particular hate for Zelda 2. I think it's old and obtuse. And to be fair, I think the same thing of Zelda 1. I don't want to go through Zelda 1 again. That said, if I got the Satellaview remake of it, I'd consider it. Alright, take care, Bane. So, interesting thing, the Virtual Console version of Majora's Mask is taken from one of the later revisions of the N64 cartridge, as far as I'm aware. Because I can tell you right now, when I played this on Nintendo 64, that symbol isn't what was on the blocks. That is changed. Same with the Switch. It was a sun. It was a moon with a star, which was changed in later revisions because of the concern that it was too close to Islam. So they changed that. Same reason why they changed the Fire Temple music. Well, I'm not entirely sure I've ever heard the original Fire Temple track. I don't particularly care. I first saw this style of the blocks and the switches in the GameCube version that came with Wind Waker, and I was like, "That's weird. That's different. Why does it look like that?" I didn't find out the reason until years later. So yeah. Right, here it is. 231. 23 is number 1. In fact, we're gonna do this, and I want to actually quit and change an option. Oh, I got the wrong one first. Deku not bounced off and hit the first Deku. Deku scrub. So you hit them in the order 2, 3, 1. And that's how you get them. Administer the coup de grace. Strike her with your sword while she's stunned. The trick is figuring out how to stun her. And it seems very obvious these days if you've played other Zelda games. But back when this came out, using the item you got in the dungeon to beat the boss wasn't always the right answer. Because, I mean, we've been through Links to the Past at this point, and in Links to the Past, in a lot of the dungeons, you don't use the item you got. Or, at the very least, you don't have to. Because, let's see, you got the Armos Knights, but the bow takes them out faster, but you don't need to use the bow. The Land Molars, you can't use the Power Glove. You can't use the Moon Pearl against Muldorm. You do need to use the Hammer against the Helmasaur King. Argus does need the hook shot. Here's Goma. This game was my first 3D experience, and this was fantastic. Look at this. So the eye turns red, and you hit him. And then Goma will run away, climb up a wall, and will lay eggs. And my strategy for this is stay close so you keep the lock on. And when she starts laying her eggs, her eye turns red, which means she can be stunned again. And it's as simple as that. Yeah, where was I? Blind, you can't use the Titan's Mitt. Skullwoods, The fire rod does kill Mothula faster. It does. It's true. Oh, that's interesting. Never actually seen the ability to use a broken Deku stick before. Huh. I use the Deku sticks because Deku sticks are actually more powerful than the Kokiri sword. It gets this fight done faster. Who's after blind? That is Cold Stare. You can't use the blue mail. Misery Maya. The Cane of Samaria. I've never used the Cane of Samaria against Vitreous. The Mirror Shield doesn't help against Trinex, and the Red Mail cannot be used against Aghanim Morganon. Welcome back, Bane. You know, maybe it's just not something I'd ever thought about. It's fair enough, yeah. Ganondorf, who was previously mentioned in Links to the Past, but didn't actually make an appearance. Triforce. So if there's one complaint I have with Ocarina and games beyond it, and is the reason why Link to the Past is the game I go back to the most, it's these long, unskippable cutscenes. It just takes so long for you to get anywhere. Like, yeah, great, you want to put more story in it. Give me the option to skip it, though, on the replays. This is the first time we see the creation myth for Hyrule, though. And I think this is actually maintained through the rest of the series. Although, as the series went on, they stopped referring to the three goddesses and started just referring to goddess Hylia on her own, which was different. And where they left Hyrule, in that spot was the Triforce. For some reason. One of my favourite things about Wind Waker is how the legend of the Triforce has been passed down for so long that the fish will give you a lot of information in Wind Waker. The legend he's heard of is the Triumph Forks. I like that. That's pretty funny. Never suffer that man with his evil heart. Oh well. It was all for nothing then. There was a funny comic I saw once where Link goes into the Great Deku Tree, sees that it's filled with spiders, and just sets the whole place on fire. Princess of Destiny. There. Nah. You know, I do like the visual look of Ocarina and Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is a better looking game. Well, it had the expansion pack to work with. Like, just the way they represent a bunch of the ideas, like, that's supposed to be an emerald in the spiritual stone of courage, I think it is. Or do they call it the spiritual stone of the forest? I don't remember. And the way the emerald is represented in the 64 graphics is kind of neat. Right, so what I want to do now is, before I leave, I want to save it, reset it, and switch Z-targeting from toggle to hold. Goodbye, Great Deku Tree. What do you want, Mido? He might have died, what's it to you? Okay, save the game. Reset the game. Head into the options. Hold. There we go. And we're back in. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I love about the 64. There's a lot of stuff I think has aged horribly, but excuse me. Like, cartridges with the battery backup saves were great. Cartridges that didn't have those but still had the save option, because the 64 had the controller pack which you could save games to, which was basically a memory card for the 64, plugged into your controller, blah blah blah. The big issue with the controller pack versus the memory card is they break easily. And they don't last that long. I've got a controller pack for my 64, in my 64 controller. And the damn thing just doesn't work. It's irritating. And I'm actually kind of surprised at this point that we've not had any kind of third-party replacement for them that's decent. So like at this point, you've got the I'm using a controller on the 64. We're not playing the 64 right now, but I've got a controller for the 64 that I backed through Kickstarter to give the 64 a better design controller. It's really nice. I actually saw a thing yesterday. It's an adapter for the Nintendo 64 that plugs into the AV multi-out, and then you just plug a HDMI cable into that, and it's supposed to be really good. And you know, there's been plenty of different solutions people have come up with for the visual output of the 64, with varying success. But the options are there. But as far as the controller pack goes, there just isn't any options. So this is Hyrule Field, and at the time this came out, this was like one of the biggest open areas in a game on console. And people these days will just say, oh, Hyrule Field was just so empty and there was nothing to do. And it's like, yeah, but you know, the fact that it existed And the fact that you could see all the way across it was amazing. Things will age poorly, but sometimes you don't want to look at them as they are now. You want to look at them how they were at the time. Because, Ocarina of Time was a major hit and a major critical and commercial success for a reason. And this is Kaepora Gabora, who I will be probably skipping everything I can that he says. Do you like Kaepora Gabora? So the thing here is, I think the clock starts at 12. So Ocarina has a day-night cycle. There we go. Ocarina has a day-night cycle, and let me see, I wanna... There we go. I think when you first step out onto Hyrule Field, it starts at 12 o'clock. And there is no way you can make it to Hyrule Castle before the sun goes down. Not by running. You do, however, move faster running backwards. Okay, I want to get up here, actually. There we go. But yeah, if you're walking normally, you won't make it here before before the sun goes down and the bridge is raised, which means you have to wait out there all night. Also, if you walk along the bridge at the top there, that's a guaranteed 60 rupees, which is really helpful here. You'll also fall through the floor when you jump there. But generally, getting into the castle after night has fallen is really like the best solution for us. What do we want to do? We want to talk to Malon here. Her father went to the castle to deliver milk and hasn't come back yet, but we're going to the castle anyway. Now, Kaepora Gabora here will tell us about the passage of time in the game world, and that certain areas in the game world don't actually have time flow. Like in the Kokiri Forest, time doesn't pass. In Hyrule Castle Town, time doesn't pass. Here, time does. And that's pretty important for what we're doing right now. No. And so now what we want to do is sneak into Hyrule Castle Town. Hyrule Castle. One thing you do definitely have to give the 3DS version credit for is the pre-rendered backgrounds in a lot of areas, like in Hyrule Castle Town, or in a lot of the houses. Because in this, the pre-rendered backgrounds, when they're upscale, look terrible. But Ocarina 3D made them proper 3D environments. And what we do now is we actually want to get caught and thrown out, and then Malon will appear here and we can talk to her. She'll ask us to find her father, which will give her, and then she'll give us the egg we need to progress. And part of the reason why the time is so important is that this egg hatches the first morning after you get it. So having it now is super useful for us, because it means like morning's going to arrive before we get into the castle. So we will be able to there'll be no dawdling. Like, the sun's rising right now. The egg's going to hatch, there'll be no dawdling, we'll be able to just progress without waiting around. So we need to sneak in without getting caught. And let's see, I want to actually... I have a method of determining distance here. There we go. So chicken hatched. Now, this is probably really irritating your first time, but I've known this route for years. So it's not something I ever really think about. But, like, there's guards in a bunch of different places, and there's no real way to determine their visual range. So actually figuring this out is probably really irritating. You want to jump into the moat. Climb over here. If you head back to the gate, there are guards there, they'll spot you. You want to head over to this guy. You need the chicken to wake this guy up. This is Talon. Fun fact, no, shut up, Navi. Get a look at his crest. He's the crest on his chest is actually Bowser. And this guy is supposed to be Mario. And I don't think it's as obvious in this game as it was in Link's Awakening with Tarin. Tarin was a lot more obviously Mario than this guy is. Well, he's got the mustache and the colour scheme. And now he's running back to his daughter. And essentially what that does is it gets him out of the way so that we can push these boxes. Which I usually do before I wake him up. I actually usually push them into position so it's a lot faster. But we need to push these boxes into position so we can sneak through that waterway. Okay. Now, if you're looking for any speedrun strats, I'm probably not going to be able to give you any. So in particular, I don't really do glitches or anything. That said, basically this entire playthrough is going to be how I do things, for the sake of getting through things faster. Something you can do without any real practice, really. The only practice that's really needed as far as this whole thing goes is really practice just to know that it's there. So there are rupees there, but don't be tempted by them. It's not worth the trouble. And the biggest issue with playing this on the Wii U is the game, the analog stick, does not translate all that well. because basically any analog stick that came after the 64 was more sensitive. And so for actual delicate movements, it's really not great. I'm never entirely sure of these guys' range. But it looks like this is actually lined up pretty well for me. So that guy's going to move down and stop halfway. This guy will also move down in a minute, and it's worked. Yeah, the timing's worked out pretty well. I don't end up having to wait for both of them to be in position. And before we talk to Zelda over there, there's a few things to see. The Mario portrait in there, there's Peach. We saw Yoshi over there. And if we look from this side, there's Luigi and Bowser's behind the window frame. And I don't think there's anything over here. But if you shoot your slingshot, so that's a thing. And here's Princess Zelda. How'd you get past the guards? Well, you know, your guards are all actually really incompetent. Is that a fairy? Alright, it's spiritual stone in the forest, alright. Yes, I do. So you can say no to her in all of her questions here, and it just results in a but thou must situation where you run it into a loop until you say yes. So Zelda sees prophecies in her dreams and stuff. Eh. I'm Zelda, Princess of Hyrule. What is your name? Grown away. Strange, it sounds familiar. You're from that best-selling JRPG on the Super Nintendo that wasn't released in Europe until 2008. It's a secret to everybody. The legend, but not the Legend of Zelda. We have many legends in this world. Most of them revolve around the Triumph Forks. Someone with an evil mind had his wish granted. The Triumph Forks would be like, nah, son. Triumph. The Temple of Time. Which would eventually be a dungeon in another game. The Door of Time. You need the 3 spiritual stones and the Ocarina of Time. But if you've ever ordered from any pizza place other than the Pizza of Time, you're not allowed in. There's a lot of time in this. The Pedestal of Time. The Door of Time, the Temple of Time, the Ocarina of Time. The Song of Time. We're spying through this window. The dark clouds, I believe they symbolise that man in there. Do you have a reason for that, Zelda? I don't know, I've seen evil looking guys. Hey, Stasa. I mean, he's no Xehanort. Did he see you? Don't worry. He won't do anything until his scheduled boss battle. I told my father about his dream, however, he didn't believe it was a prophecy. Because, you know, why would you believe it when your 10-year-old daughter comes up and says, yo, I had a prophecy dream? How you doing tonight, Stasa? The Triumph Forks. He's after the Triumph Forks. Howdy ho, neighborino. We're the only ones who can protect Hyrule. Please. I don't believe you. Please believe you. You've convinced me. I am afraid. I have a feeling that man's going to destroy Hyrule. It's fortunate you've come. You, the 10-year-old boy who will stop the fully grown man with strange magical powers. Get the Triumph Forks before Ganondorf. One more thing. You got Zelda's letter. Hopefully, whoever you give it to recognises Zelda's handwriting. Which would be kind of weird if they did, because why would they have ever seen Zelda's handwriting? Oh, you're not allowed to spell Ganon with 2 N's. You're Ganon banned now. Hello, Impa. In, I think, your first appearance in a game, but your second appearance in the overall series. So, Impa appeared in the backstory of Zelda 2, which was detailed in the manual. But this is her first actual appearance. Oh, it's not me starting you, Star, so that's the internet. You're legally not allowed to spell Ganon with 2 N's on the internet. Or you get Ganon banned. Listen carefully. I will whistle this song. You play it on the ocarina. You can translate that. You can translate that into Ocarina notes, can't you? Now, the main antagonist of the series is Ganon. And you'll find out who Ganon is at the end of the game. You learned Zelda's Lullaby. I hope you memorize it, because you're going to have to play it God knows how many times. Meanwhile, in Hyrule Field. We must protect this beautiful, empty land of Hyrule. You see that JPEG in the distance? That's Death Mountain. You gotta go there. Find my village, Kakariko. It's a village now, it's not a town anymore. Mysterious powers. Only royal family members are allowed to learn it. The fact that you've learned it is now a massive breach of conduct. If you play it in the wrong place, you will be beaten and imprisoned. I, a badass ninja, am relying on you, 10-year-old boy. Alright, so let's go along on Ranch. If you listen to Navi's hint here, she will actually tell you to go back to Kokiri Forest and talk to Saria again. Which is necessary, but it will mean we'll have to travel all the way across Hyrule Field again, and I don't want to do that, so we won't be doing that yet. And there is actually a shortcut I always use. But we are going to head to Long Ranch first. For two things. We want a bottle and we want another song. Oh no, we also want a piece of heart. Nah, Link's not a moron in this game. He's a moron in Skyward Sword. Hey, Talon. Give me your milk. I want your milk. Give me your milk. Yeah, I've been tasked with saving the world, so yeah, of course I've got free time. Coming here then, I'm gonna go to the Gold Saucer. So, for this minigame we're about to play, we have to find the 3 super cuckoos in the gaggle of regular cuckoos. 30 seconds. Get going. So, here's one. Let's see. 2. There we go, 3. No, I just finally left the princess since she never really... She never put out, she never did anything. Yes, I'd like to marry Malon. She never put out, she never actually did anything to prevent Bowser from kidnapping her. The entire country was full of morons, so Mario just left. Left the Mushroom Kingdom. Got himself a regular job. Now he doesn't save the kingdom anymore. Give me your milk. No, those are cuckoos. And here's Ingo. And it's a little less obvious, but Ingo is basically Luigi. And it's less obvious because while Talon has Mario's standard colour scheme, Ingo has Luigi's Fire Flower colour scheme, which is kind of a neat subversion. Bam. Hey, Epona. I have a name, Malon. No, they don't do wheat on this ranch. It's all, pretty much all horses and cows. That's a cute ocarina you've got. Here, I'll sing and you play these notes. Translate these notes from my voice to your ocarina. So this song will be important in about 7 years. Seven years. Bugger off, Cape Gabor. Epona. Epona, stop. Epona. So yeah, Epona responds very positively to Epona's song. And there's one more thing for us to do here, and that is grab a piece of heart. This is faster than running. That's why I'm doing it, because it's faster. There's also a secret use for Epona's song. If you play it near a cow, it will fill up any empty bottle you have with milk. And milk's decent. It will heal you for 5 hearts. It will heal you for 5 hearts, and you get 2 servings, which is pretty good. So it was a cheap alternative to the red potion. It's not bad, since you can get it for basically free. Anyway, you can find a cow. Isn't that the second piece I got? Well, that's the first piece. Did I miss one? Where else would I get one? Mini games. I didn't get the big slingshot bag from Hyrule Castle Town, but I will be back there later, so it can wait. A piece of heart is basically, you get 4 of them, you get another heart container. Which means more health. Think of it as the blue orbs in Devil May Cry. You get 4 of those, you get an extra piece added to your health bar. Almost there. There we go. Whee. Yeah. In total, we can have 20 heart containers. You get a heart container for every boss you defeat. Although I think Ocarina was the first game to allow you to skip the heart containers. Yeah, we do actually want to get to Kakariko after it goes dark. That'll make things easier for me. How many bosses are there? Goma, King Dodongo, Baronade, Phantom Ganon, Volvagia, Morpher, Bongo Bongo, Twin Rover. So we can get 8 heart containers through the entire game. 3 plus 8 is 11. That leaves 9 hearts worth of containers. 9 times 4. 36 heart containers in the game. 36 pieces of heart in the game. We're going to get another one here. Grab another one on the way back down from the mountain. Because I am aware of where all the heart containers are in this game. And unlike A Link to the Past, none of them are luck-based, which is really nice. We can also grab the next bottle as well. Got the gold sculpture. Majora's Mask has the most pieces of heart in the series. Because there's only 4 dungeons in that game, so you only get 4 heart containers, which means you will only end up without any pieces of heart with 7 heart containers. But there's still a total of 20 hearts, and all the other ones are obtained by pieces of heart. Oh wait, no, you know what? I take it back. This one's kind of luck-based. So somewhere here in the graveyard is a piece of heart that Dampé can dig up. And essentially, wait for him to get to these soft spots, and then ask him to dig, and one of them has a piece of heart, and I think it's random. There's also a piece of heart in that crate up there, but we can't get that yet. So, usually people tell you to plant the beans here, magic beans, and let them sprout, but you can do it with a hook shot. Yes. What about now? Nope. Alright. Yep. Alright, try again. Is it this one? Like this one here? Dampé's only roaming the graveyard at a specific time. So you only get the chance to do this at a specific time of day. God damn it. Running out of cash. Well, I got more cash. Yep. Come on. Damn it. Gold Skulltula on that wall behind me. I have no way of getting the token right now. Need the boomerang. Boomerang. Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka. Damn it. I don't think I've ever had it take this long before. Yes. Yeah, come on. Come on, Dampé. Places to be, got a kingdom to save. Oh. Come on, this better be it. God damn it. There's a chance again. Let's end with him. So this game doesn't actually have dynamic weather, it just always rains up near the Royal Tomb. So Bane, you ever play the Game Boy Advance port of Link to the Past? The Royal Family's Tomb. For some reason they split this into 2 rooms in the 3DS version. Need to kill all the keys. This is trickier than it is on the 64 because of the analog stick. Like I say, the sensitivity just doesn't quite match. Go and drop some money. 3 rupees, yeah, alright. Yeah, in case anybody wasn't aware, we're playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console. And the analog stick on the Wii U Pro Controller, which is what I'm using. I'm not using the gamepad right now. The analog stick is a lot more sensitive than the 64 one was, and as a result, it doesn't really translate the delicate movements you want that well. In the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past, like a bunch of the Game Boy Advance ports from Super Nintendo, they added the Link's voice from Ocarina of Time. So he'll scream whenever you fall down a pit, but most notably and most obviously, he will do his attack scream, or his attack shout, whenever you swing your sword in Link to the Past. The issue is, with how fast you can swing your sword in Link to the Past, it gets incredibly irritating very fast. So the Sun Song changes night to day and vice versa, and it is actually pretty useful to have. It does have another use, though, that is very helpful, which I will demonstrate in a moment. So what we have here are redeads. So we can get a good look at one. There we go. They're essentially zombies. And playing the Sun Song around them freezes them, which makes them a lot easier to deal with because the redeads are some of the most irritating enemies in the series. But yeah, if you play the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past, whenever you swing your sword, you're basically getting that all the time. And considering Link to the Past is a more action-oriented game than the 3D Zelda games are, it's really irritating. This is the kid that patrols the graveyard when Dampé's not around. Because during the day, Dampé's asleep in the little shed off at the side. If you use the Sun Song to go to night, it actually goes to midnight. In the day, it goes to midnight. Yeah, it's basically an ocarina. If you look at the picture, it's not a proper flute. It looks like the ocarina. There we go. If you use the Sun Song, it will turn from day to night, but it will always go to 12 o'clock. And Dampé only does the grave digging tour. There we go, free Hylian shield, which we will need. Dampé only does the grave digging tour, I think, until 10 o'clock. So you have to actually wait for the time to come out for the right time. Using the Sun Song won't get you where you want to be. Well, let's use the Sun Song again. I used the Sun Song there so we could get the kid away. So there's no one in the graveyard, so we could open that grave for the free Hylian shield. But now there's stuff we actually want to do in Kakariko. And the first thing is grabbing these cuckoos and throwing them in here. No idea what happens to him after 12 o'clock because he goes and hides in his little shed. It's possible he might turn into a pumpkin. Okay, so let's see if I can find all the cuckoos without having to ask the cuckoo lady how many are left. Well, by the next day he's fine, so I assume he's not actually a Mogwai. So we want a Cuckoo to actually get over there. Didn't make that jump right. Need to do this again. Yeah, so you need a Cuckoo to get over there. Make sure you throw the Cuckoo on that side. Make sure you don't fall down that hole or it'll reset all the Cuckoo positions. Throw that one, and then we'll get the one up the top there. So getting all the heart containers is something that is worth doing in Ocarina. It's not like it's a difficult game, but there is a point to doing it, and that's that you'll have more health. The other collectible stuff is the gold sculptures, and after a certain point, they don't have any point. Because if you get 10, you get the adult's wallet, which allows you to carry up to 200 rupees. If you get 20, you get the Stone of Agony, which makes your controller vibrate. If you have the Rumble Pack, if you play in the 64 version, in this version the controller will vibrate. It doesn't need the Rumble Pack. But after 20 you get the Stone of Agony, which will the controller will rumble if you are over a hidden hole. And at 30 you get the Giant's Wallet. I forget what you get at 40 and 50, but the Giant's Wallet is like the last thing of any real interest. But even then, the Giant's Wallet will let you carry up to 500 rupees, and you never need that much. To be fair, you never need the Adult's Wallet. Okay, there we go. So we need this. We're going to use this Cuckoo to get the other Cuckoo. Because again, can't get over here normally. Make sure we throw that one down. Grab this one. Throw this one in. Grab the other one. I think that's the last one. Pretty sure it's the last one, yeah. Oh, no. Last one. Damn it. Well. There you are. Glide. So when you're running down the rooftops, neat little thing, the rooftop declines faster than the Cuckoo does. So you will end up just gliding off the rooftop. This is the Cuckoo lady. She has allergies that mean she can't touch Cuckoos. Figure that out. Yeah, no, I'm allergic to cats. I work as a vet. I'm sorry, what? Right, so we got the bottle. Is there anything else we need? There is that one piece of heart. I'm gonna have to come back for Dampé's grave digging tour. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Also, I'm going to show you a skip here. That guy on the roof on the left will give us a piece of heart. We're not supposed to be able to get up there until we're an adult. So to get the piece of heart, we have to talk to him on the roof. But... oh, what I was after. Right, there's no way... there's not supposed to be a way up there until you have the hook shot. Which means you can then use the hook shot to get there. But by doing this, we can actually make it. I need to move further to the left. It's actually not a tricky thing, I just did it wrong. Okay, so what you want to do is Z target, move actually to the left, and then jump. There you go. Land on the fence, climb up, talk to him. So this guy's actually not programmed to talk to you, to have a different line if you talk to him at this point. The idea is like, oh yeah, there. And then after you get the hook shot, is when he's expected to talk to you. So we give this guard Zelda's letter. Somehow he knows Zelda's handwriting. Don't ask me why. Okay, so he thinks it's a joke, but he's going to let us go up to Death Mountain anyway. Which is stupid because we're a child and Death Mountain's dangerous. So this is opening up another side quest. The Happy Mask shop is in the castle town when we visit it, but it doesn't actually open until we speak to this guy. And that opens the mask side quest, which I think by the end of you get a piece of heart for. Do you? I forget. I think the Mask of Truth can lead to a piece of heart, but I might be thinking of Majora's Mask. Welcome to Death Mountain, returning from Link to the Past. Although, unlike Kakariko Village, this was actually in the original game as well. So our goal here is to get the Spiritual Stone of Fire. But of course, to do that, with it being a plot MacGuffin, we are going to have to do a dungeon. Watch out for this Goron here. I swear he aims for you. It's weird this game doesn't actually have the main theme of Zelda. There's none of the ba-ya, ba-da-da-da-da. in this game. Alright, so there is a puzzle here. And this irritated the hell out of me as a kid. Good thing I still have one Deku stick. Alright, so we go in, and we can speak to Darunia, the leader of the Gorons. The Gorons. So yeah, Darunia is basically a jerk. And the question becomes, how do you get him to not be a jerk? And the answer is, you need to go and speak to Saria. But we check the map. We're here. Saria is back in the Kokiri Forest, so it's a massive detour to go and find her. What I do is, I get up to Death Mountain. I do everything as I've done so far. I'll get off the carpet. And we do this. Light these torches. For some reason Link always spins around here. Pretty sure it's a glitch, but it's a glitch I've encountered in all the versions of the game. And then we move the fire up. You want to be careful, because if you leave the Deku stick burning too long, it'll just burn to ash. Okay, and we light this one. And so the hint here is we talk to this Goron. All the Gorons like this music. But this place is blocked, and we can't lift these bomb flowers. So this is what the torches come in for. If you move a lit torch across one on the wall, it'll immediately fall off lit. And use that to blow open the path. And this leads to a warp, which now takes us into the Lost Woods, which is where we need to go. And by doing this, we skip all of the backtracking. And it's so much more convenient. So it means we don't have to go through Hyrule Field, into the Kokiri Forest, into the Lost Woods, into the Sacred Meadow, and then back out and across Hyrule Field to Kakariko to Death Mountain. We just skip all of that and we go from Death Mountain straight into the Lost Woods. And it's so much more convenient. Nope. And so the Lost Woods is a maze. And the trick is, listen for the music. You see? But it's actually really easy to tell which is the wrong way. You see the difference? But we want to go this way for the minute, actually. Because if we do this... And that gets us the big seed bag, which means we can carry 40 Deku seeds. Okay, do I want to do this? Yeah, I guess so. So this is going to be irritating doing this on the C stick. Left, up, A. Left, up, A, left. Left, up, A, left, up. Thanks. Yes. Up, left, up. Up, left, up, A. Up, left, up, A, down. Up, left, up, A, down, A. Thanks. Yes. So you can probably figure out where this is going by now. Right, up, left. Right, up, left, up. Right, up, left, up, A. Right, up, left, A, left. Right, up, left, A, left, down. Right, up, left, A, left, down, A. I was actually getting a bit worried towards the end there. But we got it. So yeah, the easiest trick though is, like, if you look at the path you're supposed to go versus the path you're not supposed to go, because like that's an exit. That'll lead back to the beginning of the Lost Woods. And this looks very different. There's no light shining from inside it. And that's how you figure it out. It's how you also figure out there is actually a couple of extra pathways, like this. Although at this point I do actually have the layout memorized, so it's left and then right. And that leads us to the Sacred Forest Meadow. And we have to take on a Wolfos, which one of the most irritating enemies in the game because it blocks all the damn time. And killing it with the Kokiri sword takes so damn long. There we go, jeez. Alright. So having the Hylian shield at this point is actually more of a detriment. I mean, we can switch back to the Deku shield and we can actually block properly and bounce the Deku nuts back at them. But I don't want to switch my equipment. And then there's 3 here. Is there, or is it just 2? It's 2. I always misremember this as 3. And we find Saria. So Bane, are you on PlayStation Plus? I've been waiting for you. Sacred Forest Meadow. No. So I'm guessing you haven't seen the 3 games then that are on there next month, which were announced. It might have been yesterday. And this would go on to become the Lost Forest theme, the Lost Woods theme for the entire series. Yeah, what did they announce? They announced there's a racing game that looks like it's an indie racing game, which I'm just gonna, yeah. I mean, there's no Ridge Racer on PS4, so I kind of don't care. No, I don't know when they're gonna put new games on Game Pass. There are some games leaving on the 30th, so I guess they're gonna put some more on after that to replace them, maybe. But I'm not sure. Generally, whenever anything's leaving, you get a good amount of warning, though. So we just got Saria's song. But yeah, it's like an indie racing game, which I don't really care about because there's no Ridge Racer on PS4, so I don't care about your racing games. Oh, for the love of God, Namco, bring Ridge Racer back. And also, the other free game on PlayStation Plus is Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. Which sounds like it might be a good deal. You know, because, oh, it's a game that came out fairly recently. It was within the last year. I would argue that is not actually a game anybody is actually going to be after. Because surely if you were interested in Pro Evolution Soccer, in the same way if they would have put a FIFA game on there, if you were interested, you would have already bought it. Because football games have their own crowd, and the crowd that plays these football games will buy these games at launch. And it's not like you'd be like, oh yeah, no, this game actually convinced me I really like football games, because you know now. You know by now whether you like football games or not. Don't try and fool anybody. I think it's a horrible choice. It's a horrible month this month. Estasa, did you mean the games with gold? When we get new games with gold? Because that is always the first of every month. And let me check the date, actually. It is the 28th of June. June, I think, is a 30-day month. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think Xbox has actually... I don't think Xbox has actually announced what the games are going to be next month. Oh, you got the built-in Mario Kart 7. Mario Kart 7 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. That said, I haven't gone back to it since I got Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 is like a major improvement. But I don't play racing games seriously. Mario Kart I don't consider like a serious racing game. And even then, I don't play it a lot. And like when I was a kid, when I would play Mario Kart 64 for hours on end. An hour? I don't know. But like even then, like I've gotten an appreciation for certain racing game series over the years. But they're arcade races, like Ridge Racer or your classic Burnout games. Well, I got Burnout Revenge on Xbox One. It's backwards compatible from the 360, and it's awesome. But I like Ridge Racer. I picked up Ridge Racer 7 a while back on PS3. It turns out it was a launch title. I picked up Ridge Racer 7, and I ended up really enjoying it because Ridge Racer is just awesome. It's a fun... Here we go. Ridge Racer is a fun, simple racing game with a focus on drifting, and it plays really well. It's a similar kind of idea to why I enjoyed Need for Speed Underground back in the day. The only football game I ever spent any real time with was World Cup '98 on the 64. And that was mostly because it was one of the few games I had. As I got more games, I think at the max we had like 10 64 games. Just kind of dropped off and I didn't really bother with it. Because we had other stuff that covered a variety of genres. We had Super Mario 64, Ocarina, Majora's Mask, Castlevania 64, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye. I think that was it, actually. No, we had Turok 2. There's probably a couple of others I'm forgetting. Oh, we had the South Park game. Yes, we just got other games. I just stopped playing it because I was never big on football. Song 2 by Blur. The 64 version of World Cup '98 didn't have Song 2. it had in its opening sequence, I don't remember the name of the song, but it was "I get knocked down, but I get up again. You ain't never gonna keep me down." So we get the Goron bracelet, and then we can pick up bomb flowers and also bushes. We couldn't pick up bushes at the start of this game, which was really weird to me when I first played this. Yeah, I was actually there was a long period where I was pretty good friends with a guy who ran his own game shop. And at one point, he gave me a copy of FIFA 12. Chumbawamba, okay. At one point, he gave me a copy of FIFA 12 because it just didn't have a box. And I stuck it into the PS3 twice. First time I was like, yeah, no, I am not committed enough to this idea to actually do it properly. And then the second time I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to give this a proper go. And I started it up and it was like, tutorial. Well, you know, I'm not interested enough to go through a tutorial for this. Because your football games have gotten so complicated with all the crap you can do. And I just don't care enough for it. Okay. So if you backflip off here, you can grab this piece of heart early. And that's a full heart container. And let's head into the second dungeon, Dongo's Cavern. And you can already feel how much longer this game is than Link to the Past, because by this point in Link to the Past, we were probably like 6 dungeons in. I love the atmosphere of the Ocarina dungeons. One thing I really like about the dungeons in Ocarina over Link to the Past, and this is something the series would do for the rest of the series up until Breath of the Wild, which didn't have unique dungeons. Every dungeon in the 3D games has its own unique theme, which I really like, because it gives dungeons more personality. Whereas the dungeons in Link to the Past had one of 3 themes. You had Sanctuary, which was the Light World dungeons. You had Hyrule Castle theme when you went into Hyrule Castle. And then there was the Dark World dungeon theme, which played 8 times. I am the map, I'm the map, I'm the map. Alright. Jeez. Yeah, we got it. No, that isn't actually where I need to go. Which way do I need? Yeah, I'm sure I want to go this way first. That door's locked, so... For a switch? No, I'm thinking... Yeah, no, I've got it wrong. I need to go the other side first. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, if you're actually after picking up a football game at this point, which... You know, I wouldn't recommend. Mostly because the big football games, FIFA. If you want all the licensing and all that crap, FIFA. But FIFA has been so embroiled in microtransactions and loot boxes for years now. And unless you're on the latest FIFA, you're not getting everything that the game is intended to have. And so if you don't play this game in the year that it's viable, you're just not getting everything this game's intended to have. Damn it. I wanted to drop it and I threw it. So otherwise, I'd say, like, wait until FIFA 20 comes out, and then pick up FIFA 99, because it'll be going for, like, a $5 at most. Yeah, you walk into any shop like that, I mean, go into Cash Generator. Cash Generator has, like, huge numbers of them, because these games are worthless when the next one comes out. That one basically always gets me. Now it's going to explode. Yeah, like, any of these yearly franchises like that of the sports games, worthless when the next one comes out. I think the biggest exception is the wrestling series, the wrestling games. And it's not that the games don't drop massively in value when the next year comes out, it's just they don't drop anywhere near as much as the football or the basketball games do. Get here, Liz Alphos. Coward. Alright, so now the other one's going to come for me. And the first one again. Yeah, like, the whole... It's like, you know, you could complain at EA for throwing the microtransactions and loot boxes into the FIFA games, but, you know, not the worst of it. The NBA games, the microtransactions they have, and God, there was an article I read earlier this week about NBA 2K19, which is considered to be possibly the best game so far in the NBA series. And I've heard, like, pretty much all the NBA games, NBA 2K games, are really good and just have been getting better. But they're so laden with microtransactions, and 2K18 had it really bad. And 2K promised to do better with 2K19, and then they didn't. And now it seems like 2K19 has unskippable ads in-game. Like, during the loading screens. And, like, there's the thing. It's not like, oh, it's just an ad that plays while the loading screen is on. It's, the loading screen will not end until the ad has finished. Yeah, no, the whole thing with loot boxes over, in particular, sports games, like, people went crazy when it was Star Wars, and it was really bad. But a solid point was brought up on Reddit, in the subreddit for it, that this is just stuff they've been doing in FIFA for years, and FIFA's been like the worst of it, and nobody's really paid attention or like properly complained. But then your major crowd for FIFA are the kind of people who buy one game a year, and that game is FIFA. It's just this whole awful way the industry's going. And these people who only buy FIFA every year, you can't convince them not to do it and not to spend all this money on it, because it's all they do. It's the only game they play. They go home and their downtime is FIFA. And because they're so into the game, they can't just ignore it for a year. They have to have the latest one because the latest one has the latest roster, and it's like, does it really mean that much to you? And apparently it does, for some reason. And there's not really anything else to compare it with that, like, we play. I mean, you've got examples of games that are very similar to the previous games that came out. It's like the best example I can think of off the top of my head, Arkham Origins is like incredibly similar to Arkham City. There's a lot of copy and pasted stuff there, but there is still a load of new stuff there, and it has its own new plot line. But with FIFA, all you're really getting every year is a slight upgrade. Although they have been having that the journey thing, which I think took place like a full story over the course of 3 games. But again, like, is the story that good that that's what you're going out and buying it for? And most people who play FIFA would tell you no. And honestly, it's kind of sad because these people are effectively being robbed. Being robbed by these companies. But they won't do anything else with it. They won't stick with an older game, they won't not buy the new game. And it's just kind of sad. Alright, let's see if we can get the timing right on this. Yes! First time. Well, no, I'm not like disputing the idea that people who play FIFA wouldn't be interested in other genres. But like my point really is these people are being taken advantage of. And it really is sad. The industry is just massively taking advantage of them. And this is just what the industry is. Like, more than anything, like, I'm really glad that I'll play old stuff. Because old stuff has to have some kind of integrity when it comes out. You can't fix it in an update, you can't put it out half finished. I mean, don't get me wrong, that didn't stop some people. But there's a whole push in a direction I do not like with the industry over the past few years, and it's getting worse. Oh no, the easy money isn't that they're putting out a new football game every year. The easy money is the ultimate packs that people throw down so much money for. And there was a thing earlier this year, it was a few months back. Like there's a window of like a week where you can get special cards in these Ultimate Team packs. That are like better than usual. You have a chance of getting them. And since legally now they have to tell you what that chance is. Like the chance of getting these special cards that only appear for a week in these packs are less than 0.1%. But it's like we're on Twitch right now. You take a minute and you go and look at FIFA on Twitch, and FIFA is one of the most played games on Twitch. There is a huge market for it because people love football. And it's fine. It's fair enough. And I Okay, you know what? I can't say anything there because I've bought games on multiple platforms before. But no, it's like it's less than 1%, and there were people on Twitch who regularly stream FIFA doing these things. It's like, yeah, no, what we're gonna do is the new packs are out, and it's the packs with the limited edition characters and stuff. And there were people who were throwing down hundreds of pounds and not getting a single thing they were after. Because that's just the thing now. I'm hoping this kind of entire idea is on its way out. Because like there was a meeting earlier this week between representatives from EA and Epic and some kind of commission. It was in the UK as well. Let me see if I can find the article actually. No, I don't. Controller fell upside down. Here we go. Parliament's Digital Culture, Media and Sport Committee. That's what it was. There was a meeting between representatives from EA and Epic and that committee. And EA's representative talks about loot boxes and refers to them not as gambling, but as surprise mechanics that are fun for the player. And like the lengths of bullshit they will go to for this shit is unbelievable. And I read the article and I was like, you know, this is going to be a very typical thing of the people in this committee haven't got a clue what is actually going on or being said. And I was surprised because these people did know what was going on and they took them to task. And I'm really hoping this shit gets outlawed. It's already been banned, legally banned in places like Belgium. Belgium's banned loot boxes, and EA tried to play freaking coy and not deactivate his loot boxes. And then Belgium took him to court for it, and EA went to court, expecting they could win in a Belgian court of law to prove they hadn't broken a Belgian law. It's the wrong button. And it's like this is just the length of bullshit that they'll go to for these things. Well, let me push this out of the way. Yeah, I've bought games on multiple platforms, but a lot of it is I like the idea of as much as possible being on one platform. Like, what do we got? I have, in particular, you mentioned Resident Evil 4 and Final Fantasy X, Bane. I have Resident Evil 4 on, originally I had it on PS2. We got it on Wii, the family, but now it's just my copy now because nobody plays it. I bought it on PS3 and played it on PS3. I bought it on PC when I was trying to get into PC gaming. Although, no, after the Wii version, I bought none of these versions for full price. I always bought them on sale. PS3, PC, PS4, and I also got it on GameCube at some point. But GameCube's mostly just because it's the original version. I was like, I want to try this. And that's what the Let's Play was. I was playing it on GameCube. Final Fantasy X. I have the PS2 original. I bought it on Vita when the HD version came out because the idea of it on PS2 was cool and everything, but I was big into the Vita. I still am big into the Vita. Vita's awesome. But I got it on Vita. And it's great. Final Fantasy X, one of the best Final Fantasy games. Portable. It's awesome. And then I got it on PS4 as well, and that's it for Final Fantasy X. But to be fair, both versions came with 10.2, which I don't own on PS2. That said, I have been really tempted to buy 10 and 10.2 on Switch, but I've really been unable to justify it to myself for several reasons. It's like, oh, portable and docked. It's like, yeah, but I've got it on PS4 and Vita, and I can transfer the save between them. So that's not really worth it. Also, it's pricey on Switch. I bought it full price on Vita, and that was, I think it was £30. Full price on Vita. That was basically at launch. On Switch, it's, I think, 45. And it went on sale. It's been on sale once on Switch for 36. It's like those are the main reasons why I haven't picked it up on Switch. I say a lot of it comes down to portable and on the big screen. I can transfer the save between the Vita and the PS4 version. It's fine. Secret of Mana is an interesting one. I have Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo Classic, and that's kind of it. I haven't got the remake. Not for a lack of interest, more just a lack of interest. I want to play the original before I do the remake. Before I even consider the remake. What else do I have? I bought a lot of stuff that I have on PS3 again on 360, so I can play it on my Xbox One. But there's a couple of reasons for that, and a lot of it is being able to play as many games as possible on as few platforms as possible. That's really what I'm after. I don't know, I'll try the remake for myself at some point, because I like to form my own opinion. That's why I played through 13. But like I said, I want to do the original first. And I'm probably going to get the original again in the Collection of Mana, which will mostly just be for Trials of Mana. Although I've heard, I actually saw an article today, Trials of Mana doesn't come with its manual on the collection. Which is weird, because I remember when the Seiken Densetsu collection came out in Japan, and it didn't come with the manual, but they later patched it in because apparently Seiken Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana, is actually a really complicated game and does kind of require the manual. And so the fact that they then released it several years later in the West without its manual is really kind of just ridiculous to me. I just need to get the timing right on this again. Yeah, damn it. They have a shorter fuse than the bomb flowers. There we go. But yeah, I want to pick up the Seiken Densetsu collection. The collection of mana, they call it now. I do want to go through Final Fantasy Adventure at some point. Or if I haven't got around to playing the remake. Because I think the last... I do want to pick up the collection of mana at some point. Because I could do with going through all of them. Actually, alright, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. My software was going a bit and then it just outright crashed. So, that's wonderful. But yeah, I intend to play the original first. The original has a very good reputation. I've played the original, but only for about an hour. It's kind of it. So it is a game I need to sit down and do properly. Probably be good for stream, actually, a blind playthrough. So I'm thinking about changing the stream format a little anyway. Maybe make them a bit longer. I mean, at the minute we go for 3 hours. Let me see what time we're on. Yeah, we're not going to get through Jabu Jabu tonight. Probably get into Jabu Jabu though. At the minute we go for 3 hours, but imagine how much we could get done if we went for 4 hours. But yeah, no, I want to play through the original. I've been meaning to go through Final Fantasy Adventure for years. Oh, that reminds me, Saga, the Legend, Final Fantasy Legend games. Did you know they were 2 and 3 were remade for the DS, but only in Japan? I need to sit down and do Saga Frontier at some point as well. Now we have magic. Yay! And also we can grab another piece of heart on the way back down to Kakariko. Okay, so if we grab Kaepora Gaebora's feet, I'd consider agreeing with you there, Bane, but still not played Shadow Hearts. That's another game on the list. I should do more blind playthroughs here. Quick, head towards that JPEG of Kakariko. Alright, and when we land, Kaepora Gibora puts us on top of this house. And if we walk over here and fall off the ledge, we can land on here, going here, and grab a piece of heart. If we don't get this here, we have to get it as an adult. With the hook shot. You have to get it with the hook shot. But yeah, I can understand your frustration with the Secret of Mana remake. Because I've heard Adventures of Mana was really good, which was the remake of the original. And it's kind of surprising because it was a mobile game ported to the Vita and only the Vita. And I've got it on Vita. I've been meaning to play through it for ages. But again, kind of want to go through the original first. I've heard it's a fairly short Game Boy game, which is a good idea. I have to go back for that piece of heart in the graveyard. Irritating me that we didn't get it. That was like the perfect time to get it. But yeah, the Saga games, Saga 2 and 3 remade on DS, both actually have complete fan translations now, which would be pretty cool. And yeah, another few games that I need to go through at some point. There just isn't enough time in the day to play all these JRPGs. And God knows my attention span isn't what it used to be. Nah, you're probably never going to get a port of DS games at this point. How did that not break any of these? Yeah. You know, actually, let me see. How many beans do I want? I think I want like 3. I think there's 3 that are actually required for the pieces of heart. I was assuming this guy was actually eating the beans. Yeah, every time you buy magic beans, they go up by 10 rupees in price because they're getting more popular because you're buying them. Alright. Yeah, if you're interested, Bane, there are full fan translations of the Saga 2 and 3 on DS. Which I can hook you up with, actually, if you're interested. You need a way to play them, but you can probably find a way to play them. Over there. I've been really in a mood to do Game Boy recently. Because I was actually considering picking up a GB Boy Color. Which is like a clone console. Well, you can play the fan translations through either emulation or flashcards. And while I don't condone piracy, I mean you're the kind of guy who will go and actually buy a physical copy of a Japanese game you could never understand. And like I say, while I don't condone piracy, these games that you have no other way of playing anyway. I mean, it's the same argument I made in the Prince of Persia series, in the Prince of Persia videos. It's like, how did Seiken Densetsu 3 get popular in the West? Emulation and fan translation. Why do people want Mother 3 in the West? Emulation and fan translation. So there are ways you can play them. I can show you where you can get the fan translation. But yeah, it's really up to you. And it's like I've told you before, like emulation and flashcards aren't playing the original product. Like flashcards in particular are a preferred answer to me, because particularly on handhelds, because it means you can have your entire library of games without having to carry multiple cartridges, which is so convenient for handhelds. And like I say, don't condone piracy. Do I have enough money for this? Don't condone piracy. But if you already own the game, particularly with you being a collector, you've got these games in boxes, and you don't want to take them out of boxes and stuff like that. 20 rupees, I do have enough for this. You don't want to take them out of the boxes, but you still want to play them. Grab yourself a flashcard. So we need to get all of these, and we'll get the silver scale, which we need to progress. But if we get all of these, we also actually gain 5 rupees as profit. Okay, so we need to get back up, and I don't know if there's a time limit on this. But I have had it before where I've gotten back up and I've had to do the game again. It's just not giving me the reward. No, I mean the remakes of Saga 2 and Saga 3 on DS. Romancing Saga, I have a fan translation of the first Romancing Saga on Super Famicom. But 2 and 3 have been remade, and I've bought 2 and I need to get around to buying 3. I need to actually play them as well. Romancing Saga 2 sounded like it had a really interesting premise. And you know, there's a game I've bought a couple of times as well. I bought it on PS4 and I bought it on Switch. There was a point where I was buying a bunch of stuff again on Switch just because Switch. And I've kind of stopped doing that now, and I'm happy about it because stuff's just it's more expensive on Switch. And 9 times out of 10 doesn't actually run as well. It's like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night came out, and I grabbed it on Xbox because I'm playing Xbox at the minute. And god damn it, grab the damn thing. So I've been playing Xbox a lot recently. I got enough on my PS4 as it is. I had considered going for the Switch version, but the Switch version, the Switch version was delayed for an extra week. I was like, I don't want to wait an extra week. Also, I remembered hearing that the Switch version, when it was playable at PAX, I think it was, had performance issues. And they said they were going to fix them, but it was like, I was kind of like, what if they don't? And then, you know, it came out. The backers got their early copies of the Switch version. It turned out, oh wait, they didn't. It plays kind of bad on Switch. I was like, you know, I'm glad I didn't pick it up on Switch. Then I got it on Xbox instead. Even on Xbox, it has technical problems. It's like, jeez. There we go. Yeah, but I mean, we went over this at one point, I'm sure, Bane, with like your unopened games that you want to keep the value for and stuff like that. But even then, like I say, particularly for the handhelds, with the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy, and the DS, your flashcards are so much more convenient because it allows you to not have to carry a load of them around, especially Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. It's like with your DS. My case, my DS and my 3DS has slots for game cards. It's fine, it's cool. Your Game Boy and Game Boy Advance stuff generally didn't have that, and they were bigger systems to begin with, and the cartridges were bigger. So having the flash card for them is just a lot more convenient for portability. Like I say, I don't condone piracy. If you have no way of buying these games, do what you need to do. If you do, buy them. It's like I say, it's like I said in the Prince of Persia videos. Time around. Yeah, we're coming up to an end. It's like I said in the Prince of Persia videos. Not really, because the argument is always support the developers, and yeah, support the developers. It's not always possible, especially with old stuff. Like, yeah, you bought a complete in-box Illusion of Time and Terranigma, and you can guarantee your purchase of Illusion of Time did not support the developers because the developers disbanded. Like, Quintet went bust years ago. You know, meanwhile, if they re-released it, which they might have done actually, Illusion of Time might have been on the Virtual Console on the Wii. It's like, at that point, you've got the chance to support somebody who might have been involved with the game or something like that. And it's like, yeah, no, I can pick up what's a good example? Like, Seiken Densetsu 3, probably like one of the best examples. The fan translation for it has been out for a long time. But now that Collection of Mana is out, you're damn right I'm going to pick up Collection of Mana. For two reasons. One, support the developers, and two, it's also super convenient as a way to have all three games. I'm not going to get through Jabu Jabu in like 10 minutes. Yeah, it's like I say, like, without emulation and stuff like that, how did so many people play Earthbound before it was released on Virtual Console? And without the fan translation and stuff like that, how would people have played Mother 3? I need to get around to Mother 3. I need to do Earthbound. I actually do own Earthbound now, thanks to the Super Nintendo Mini and the Virtual Console, which I bought Earthbound on this. I bought Earthbound 3 times now, actually. So I bought it on 3DS Virtual Console, then I got my Wii U and I bought it on here, and then I got the Super Nintendo Mini. And so I think, actually, we're going to call an end. Let me see this. call an end to Ocarina of Time. Still got a few minutes though. So let's change the game. Well, people in Europe probably played Chrono Trigger through, if not emulation, you're probably looking at import. But Earthbound was a game you didn't really have the option for that with because it was a rare game in the US. So, I mean, at that point, it's like, what could you do other than emulate it? People who lived in the country it came out in couldn't really pick it up. What do we got? What do we got? That we can play for a few minutes. I always forget that I actually do have Zelda 2 on here. And here's a reason why I'm not going to get rid of my Wii U, because Nintendo doesn't have a virtual console on Switch. And their solution to that has been complete and utter bullshit. Here we go. Was I in the middle of something last time I played this? Oh, I just started Star Cup, cool. So yeah, we'll finish off with some Mario Kart 64. I like Mario Kart 64. It's one of my favourites. It's kind of weird because Mario Kart 64, I think, seems to get kind of a bad rap as far as the Mario Kart games go from Mario Kart fans. That said, the Mario Kart fans who say Super Mario Kart holds up are just morons. It really does not. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia for this, but I still think this game is really fun to play, especially with multiplayer. This was the first Mario Kart to support 4-player, and it didn't support 4-player Grand Prix, but I don't think any Mario Kart actually supported 4-player. No. Mario Kart Double Dash did, but that was just 2-player split screen because you'd have 2 people per kart. Yeah, I saw that mod, and the idea was interesting, but it looked, like you say, a lot of chaos. It looked like it was just basically unplayable. It was cool as a concept, but jeez. But Mario Kart mods are actually pretty common. I check out ROM hacks every now and then, see what people come up with. Some are very basic stuff, some are complete conversions. Peach is way ahead. And I think like damn near every Mario Kart has had some kind of modification to it at some point. Like new tracks, new characters, new features. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. I think Mario Kart 64 has a bunch. This was before we could fire green shells backwards, apparently. Damn it. Really want to catch up to Peach. So it's kind of interesting to go back to this era of voiced Mario characters and hear how different some of the voices are. Like, this is before we ended up with the standard Luigi voice. So it's still a little different. It's not as weird as like early Mario Party games where Luigi has a weirdly high-pitched voice. But it's still kind of weird. Come on, come on. Come on, can we do it? Can we get something good? Yes. Nice. Come on. What a perfect time for that. That's the kind of item that you would not see that in later Mario Kart games. 3 stars, 2 of them gotten in second place, and then a lightning bolt in second place. You would not see that in later Mario Karts. That's crazy. The only sketch I remember from Robot Chicken involving Mario and a cart is the one where the bridge is out and they decide to take the detour through Vice City, and it ends with Yoshi taking the other route because like the pathway splits. It's like Vice City or Raccoon City, and Mario and Luigi go to Vice City, and Yoshi's like, Raccoon City sounds lovely, and then is immediately set upon by zombies. Ah, damn it. But yeah, there's reasons why I'm not going to be getting rid of my Wii U anytime soon. And a lot of it has to do with playing the older games. Nintendo just has not put any kind of replacement out for the Virtual Console. And that said, the Wii U Virtual Console pales in comparison to the Wii Virtual Console. God damn it. Well, at least I'm not Wario. Okay, everybody's in a cluster up ahead. Let's see if we can get anywhere with this. More red shells. Go away, Mario. as Bowser, but Peach has gotten so far ahead again. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Nostalgia, maybe. But I do really like Mario Kart 64. I love the visuals. I love a lot of the tracks. Like, there's a lot of tracks that just weren't brought back in the later games when they started doing the retro tracks. Like, I like Banshee Boardwalk. Banshee Boardwalk's great. It was never brought back. They brought back Rainbow Road. This is my favourite incarnation of Rainbow Road, actually. They brought it back in Mario Kart 8, but they decided it was too long, so you only do one lap around the course. And it's like, yeah, you know what, fair enough. The Rainbow Road on Mario Kart 64 was really long. Cutting it down to one lap makes it way too short. I also love, like, I hate this track, because I think it's a pain to actually drive around. But I love that you can just drive off the track at one point and go to Peach's castle from from Super Mario 64. And like every time they've brought this track back, they've completely gated that section off, so you can't do it anymore, which is really disappointing to me. Because it was one of my favourite things about this track. See, right there. If you take that path, you can just drive straight up to it. And it looks almost exactly the same as it did in Mario 64. Go away, Wario. No! Damn it! The slope got way too slopey for me. It's possible the item balancing has something to do with my love of this game as well. I mean, as it is now, you know you're never going to get any decent items in first place or second place. Which can be really disappointing. But if you give everybody the option to have anything, you open the game up quite a bit. And I think it's an interesting idea. See if we can make it through this section without falling into the water. Stay as far away from the water as I can. Go away, Peach. There we go. I'm sorry, what? Bowser's that far ahead? Is that saying Bowser's basically already won? See this? Yeah, Bowser's won already. Jeez. It's crazy. That was helpful. No, 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 no. Come on, come on. Damn it. This is going to be it. The conclusion of the stream. Bowser's Castle. I always thought there was a way to get that that thwomp out of there. We all got caught. Yeah, there's a thwomp in prison there. I always thought there was a way to get it out. Tried a bunch of things for that as a kid. Ooh, that was close. They did bring this Bowser's Castle back in something. I can't remember what it was. Might be Mario Kart 7. It's been a while since I played 7. So after I picked up 8, didn't really see a reason to go back to 7. Like, 7 was a big improvement over Mario Kart Wii, I think, was the last one before that. But then 8 took the improvements and improved it a little bit more. And at that point, it was like, At that point, it really is like nothing wrong with 7. It just felt like 7 was missing stuff after that. Because 8 was like so similar. Just that little bit better. But they brought this back in something. And I think it was probably 7. I'm going to wait for your start run out. There you go. Yeah, man, was it just... Come on. Last lap, come on. Let's end the stream on a victory. I get you, Peach. Yes! So that's 3 firsts and a third. That should put me in the lead. I worked it out once. 3 firsts guarantees you a victory, I think it was. After that, it doesn't matter where you come, nobody can stack up against you, I think it was. Was it in this or was it a different one? I forget. I tell you what's really sad though, this is the last appearance of the Blowfish. Because after this, they changed it in Mario Kart Double Dash. It was... you drove through item boxes in Double Dash to get the trophy. And from then on, it was a bunch of random stuff. And the Blowfish, which appeared in Super Mario Kart, appeared here. This was its last appearance. It's a shame. I really liked it. Number 1. Anyway, so that's going to call it for tonight's stream. We'll be back Sunday, 10 PM Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. We'll be doing either more Ocarina of Time or we'll be going back to Eternal Darkness. I'm kind of debating alternating between 2 games to mix things up. Because the casual streams are fun, but they do also playing games for like a little bit at a time while trying to keep it a little more interesting and stuff. It's a little bit. My attention span's like, oh yeah, no, you played enough of this, play something else now, and it can get really awkward. But alternating can be good for mixing things up. So yeah, we're back on Sunday, 10 p.m. GMT, which meantime, with either more Ocarina or Eternal Darkness. I haven't given up on Eternal Darkness. We are still going to be playing that. Special thanks to Estasa and Bane in the chat for keeping me company, as always. Thank you to everybody who showed up to watch and showed their support. I always appreciate that, really. If you want any updates on when we're streaming next, what we'll be streaming, follow me on Twitter. That's @GreenChrono. Stream's going to be going up to YouTube after this when we're done. That is Mecha Chrono on YouTube, Mecha-Chrono. I have checked. You can find me very easily. Just type in Mecha/Chrono. The channel we're currently going through Prince of Persia and Spyro the Dragon. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, and Spyro the Dragon. So that's fun stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.